Greetings, most gracious audience. I am Sir Persevere, Knight of the Hand-Drawn Realm. Today I shall continue the review of Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 2 that I began in my last video. As you may recall from the previous video, we witnessed the death of the Sorceress. We saw He-Hulk Man massacre a Manticore. And we saw Prince Adam being a clumsy klutz and inadvertently causing the deaths of Fisto and Clampchamp. Let us now venture forth and see what woke messes and other debaucheries lay in store for us in this second installment. Episode 3 is titled The Gutter Rat. King Randor and Prince Adam pull away from their embrace. The king comments that if this is a trick from Skeletor, he doesn't even care. Adam responds that Skeletor is not doing any illusions. Teela Wannabe is the one who brought them here. King Randor hugs her and thanks her for bringing Adam back. Teela Wannabe apologizes for leaving. Randor replies that Teela Wannabe was hurt and angry. In fact, she had every right to turn her back on her friends and family. So many truths were being kept from her and him. So, we're going to give Teela Wannabe a pat on the back and tell her that it was okay for her to become a butch-cut witch? That it was okay for her to throw a pity party temper tantrum because He-Man hid his secret identity? And King Randor is going to soak some of that pity party mood in himself because He-Man's identity was kept from him? Once again, I roll my eyes until they pop right out of my helmet at the very thought. Oh, Kevin Smith. You just can't quite own up to your mistakes from part 1, can you? Anyway, Prince Adam comes to his dad and tells him that he should have told him his secret identity. And King Randor responds that he should have told him how proud he was of his son every day. Again, I leave it to the 1980s He-Man fans to inform me in the comments below just how dutiful of a father or otherwise King Randor was. Not that King Randor needs to tell his son every day how proud he is of him, but a good dad should be proud of his son. Of course, I will also add that not all sons are worthy to have their dad's seal of approval. For instance, I imagine that the fathers of these SJW rioters and looters are ashamed of their sons, and rightfully so. Of course, many of those sons probably grew up without a dad, but I'm getting off topic.
Revelation that easily. You have insulted my good name. How dare you insinuate that rioters and looters are SJWs?
Oh, if it isn't the high and mighty Queen Hivemind. Well, if you want me to clarify that statement, very well. Not all SJWs turn into hardened criminals. Not every rioter and looter is an SJW. But it is true that the grand majority of SJWs cheer on the misery inflicted on everyday people by these loathsome Antifa individuals who, as I stated, probably have fathers who are rightly ashamed of them, if they even have fathers at all.
Watch your mouth, Sir Persevere. I have a clone army of Antifa Freddies at my beck and call. I will have you pulverized before you can say make classic animation great again.
Oh look, Seth Rogen just released his racist Rankin Bass Christmas special parody on HBO Max.
Really? I want to see. I love Seth Rogen. Wait for me!
Ah, works every time. Now, where was I? Yes. King Randor wishing to tell his son every day from now on how proud he is of him. Anyway, King Randor also states that everyone, especially kings, should learn from their mistakes. Prince Adam then tells King Randor about Cringer's rescue attempt back in episode 1 of part 2. Randor then thanks Cringer for his courage. Randor turns to Audra the Science Woman. Teela Wannabe fills Randor in on who Audra the Science Woman is. Randor thanks her for her part. He then asks what she would like as a reward. Audra the Science Woman replies that she just wants to stay with Prince Adam, Teela Wannabe, and even King Randor as a family member. Okay, not that I necessarily disagree with that sentiment, But how does that even legally work? Because Tila Wannabe is a friend of the royal family, not an actual member thereof. Does Audra the science woman just mean retaining a close family-like friendship with all of them? I guess that makes the most sense. King Randor replies to Audra the science woman that she can't stay as a civilian at a military encampment, so he is going to promote her to lieutenant.
You saw doing grand. Jar Jar bringing Usin and the Naboo together. So, we shall make you Bombard General.
Anyway, Audra the science woman talks like a Jersey girl as she accepts her new military position without any prior military experience. Tila Wannabe informs King Randor that he won't be sorry, because the word of endorsement from a butch-cut lady is gospel these days, apparently. Audra the science woman and Cringer then tell Randor that Tila Wannabe transported them to this place with magic. Before anything else can be said, Adam's mother arrives on a hover bike. She sees Adam and runs to him to give him a big hug. Alright, as a mama's boy myself, I admit this scene in isolation is sweet. What man doesn't love his mom and want to hug her? King Randor tries to make it a group hug, but the queen shoots him a stink eye. Oh boy. What nasty surprise are we going to find here, Kevin Smith? For what woke reason does she not want King Randor to join the family embrace? Probably something to do with smashing the patriarchy, but I suppose we'll see. The queen asks how this is possible. Adam replies that it's a long story. He takes both his mother's and father's hands and declares that he's happy to have his family back together again. It was nice to see Adam overcome his mother's stink eye and embrace his whole family. The queen pulls Adam away from his father and says, "Long story, my butt. You're going to come with me this instant and tell your mother what happened." Okay? Really? What queen says "my butt" in front of the common folk? I'm pretty sure royal people in real life are expected to show a little more decorum. I stand corrected, but my point still stands. Royal people typically don't go around saying "my butt" if they can help it, because royal people are high-minded blowhards who are too out of touch with regular people for their own good. Anyway, the Queen and Adam leave Randor behind, making him feel sad. I don't blame you, sir. For your wife to give you the stink eye and keep your son all to herself is a pretty awful thing to happen. We go back to Man-at-Arms, who is busy comforting his new friend Harvey Cthulhu. The eldritch being has not yet recovered from the attack levied against him by Skeletor. Shocking, really, since Harvey states all the time that he's the most powerful being in the universe, and he's apparently no longer in Overlord DVD's containment field. Wait, that's not Harvey. It's that other monster with the tentacles that look like snakes. Well, if Overlord DVD does ever see this video, I hope he enjoys the shoutout. And hang in there, Harvey. Perhaps someday you'll get out of your containment field. Anyway, it's clear that Man-at-Arms has made friends with his tentacled sparring partner. As he looks at the control panel with tentacled monster goop coating his hand, Evil Lyn enters the dungeon. She tells Man-at-Arms that he's gone soft. She asks him what it feels like to lose all his power. Man-at-Arms responds, "You tell me." In looking at shirtless Man-at-Arms, I see they did a better job with animating hair on his chest than they did with the savage He-Hulk man with those pathetic sprigs sticking out of his legs. Anyway, Evil Lyn replies that she's more powerful than ever. She inflicts magical pain on the tentacle monster to prove her point. Evil Lyn then rubs the sorceress's death into Man-at-Arms' face. Man-at-Arms then points out that Skeletor likes to bully Evil Lyn. To this, she blushes. Man-at-Arms continues to egg on the fact that Skeletor bullies, nay, abuses his girlfriend. He tells her that he pities her. He also reveals that since she is the sorceress now, Evil Lyn is actually more powerful than Skeletor. Now, when it comes to Beastman talking to Evil Lyn about Skeletor's toxic masculinity, I see a simp who wants to be with Evil Lyn on an intimate level. When I see Man-at-Arms pulling the same ploy, however, I think it was his way of trying to turn his enemies against each other. Sowing division among your enemies can be clever sabotage. After Men-at-Arms sows the seeds of treachery into Evil Lynn's mind, we go back to the military camp in the Mystic Mountains. Adam asks his mother what's going on between her and King Randor. She confesses that when Adam disappeared, she allowed her marriage to become rocky. King Randor blamed her for not telling him about Prince Adam being He-Man, and Queen Marlena resented him for it. She even contemplated going back to Earth. That's right, our own planet gets dragged into this lovely conversation. Hardly surprising, since Queen Marlena did come to Eternia as an astronaut in the first place. At this point, there is no resolution to the rift between Marlena and Randor. The scene switches back to Skeletor and Evil Lyn. Once again, we see Skeletor with his eye sockets glowing with cosmic power. Look at me, I'm Skeletor and I have starry eyes. Anyway, Skeletor is still trying to figure out how Prince Adam was able to call the power without the sword. He snaps out of his starry-eyed reverie and looks at Evil Lyn, asking her if he's boring her. He offers her his hand and tells her that he wishes to show her something. The moment she takes his hand, we see that they're floating in space above Eternia. Even Skeletor marvels at the vastness of the universe. The scene turns into a Doctor Who sequence with Skeletor and Evil Lyn floating through the vastness of space. As I watch the flashy lights flicker by, I ask myself if Kevin Smith took film classes from Jar Jar Abrams. We then see an hourglass-shaped cosmic entity that holds the entire universe. Skeletor reveals that the planets are about to align to such an extent that Eternia will be in the center of the universe. Skeletor reveals that with him holding the sword, he will be master over existence once the planets align. Evil Lyn looks upon the universe and gives a speech about the universe being meaningless and full of pain.
Life is pain, Highness. Anyone who says differently is selling something.
Once Evil Lyn finishes her little pontification, Skeletor thrusts her out of the Star Chamber. He tells her to not reflect too deeply upon the horrors of the void. Skeletor declares that he will use the power of the cosmos to kill He-Man. Evil Lyn laughs at him. While Skeletor thrusts her around again, she tells him that he should use his powers to kill He-Man's parents with a single thought right now. Skeletor brushes aside her suggestion, calls her a gutter rat, and re-enters the Star Chamber. Evil Lyn goes into a passageway and has a good cry. And who should meet her in her cry closet? The #1 simp himself. Beastman is there to console her. Evil Lyn reveals her backstory to Beastman. Suffice it to say, Evil Lyn had spent her childhood in the gutters and was ultimately recruited by Skeletor as she engaged in a life of petty thievery. After the flashback is over, Evil Lyn reveals that she hates Skeletor, but that she also owes him her life for lifting her out of the gutter. Beastman lays his simping on nice and thick as he tells her to run from Skeletor and save herself. She tells him that she has to free them all from Skeletor. The scene changes again, and we see Prince Adam and Teela Wannabe in an aircraft. Teela Wannabe explains to Adam that she understands that he hid his secret of He-Man with the best intentions of protecting loved ones, but that the secret still hurt. I roll my eyes once again. So, we're still whining about hiding secret identities, eh, Teela Wannabe? You're pathetic. Adam reveals that he has another secret. He begins to stammer, stating that he was wanting to share this secret for a long time. At first, I thought he was going to confess his love for her, which, in fairness, to love a woman with a butch haircut and a whiny attitude takes some guts. But no, that wasn't the secret. Teela Wannabe cuts him off and replies that she knows that the sorceress was her mother. Adam apologizes for not telling her about her mother. Teela Wannabe, to her credit, doesn't blame the prince for that one. She blames the sorceress herself, stating that the sorceress could have told her. The scene goes back to Castle Grayskull, where we see Evil Lyn approaching Skeletor in his Star Chamber. Skeletor pulls himself from his meditations and asks if Evil Lyn has come to bicker with him some more. Evil Lynn pulls some seductive moves and makes it clear that she wants to get it going with Skeletor. She claims that she wants to feel his power. Before Skeletor can begin kissing her, she requests that he return his power. After all, she reasons, in his powered-up state, he might crush her to death through the violent throes of, knowing her.
And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord.
Skeletor falls for Evil Lynn's trick and allows himself to go back to his normal self. The two of them seat themselves upon the throne of Grayskull and begin the act of intimacy. Skeletor is happy that Evil Lynn took his point. As Evil Lynn kisses Skeletor, she takes He-Man's sword. She then thrusts the point of the sword to Skeletor's throat. She calls both him and his ambitions pathetic. She also points out that Skeletor's whole world revolves around He-Man, and killing He-Man would deprive Skeletor of any purpose whatsoever. Skeletor pleads with her to be reasonable. Evil Lynn declares that as sorceress, she appoints herself as her own new champion. What happens at this point is perhaps the worst part of Part 2. And it is also the part that has been memed the most, not to mention has been used for thumb files on other channels' videos. Evil Lynn summons the power. You'd think that emerging from that transformation would be an Evil Lynn beautiful and strong enough to rival the beauty and strength of Wonder Woman. You'd think that Evil Lynn would have an exaggerated feminine physique and even longer hair to go with her enhanced musculature. In reality, you must remember that this is Kevin Smith we're talking about. A pathetic man who is sympathetic to the woke mob. What happens next is a total abomination to feminism itself. Evil Lynn emerges from her transformation and is like, look at me, my hair was cut even shorter than Tila Wannabe's. I'm even more manly than Tila Wannabe. Look at my bulgy biceps. I'm the most manly woman in the universe. Oh, Evil Lynn. For all the faults I had with this show, you were at least feminine and beautiful, but no more. Thanks a lot, Kevin Smith. Thanks a lot. I think I shall dub this monstrosity the Cosmic Freight Train.
Do 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 do.
Skeletor, after seeing Evil Lynn turn into an ugly freight train, teleports himself away from Grayskull with all haste. The Cosmic Freight Train causes a storm to gather above Grayskull. At King Randor's fort, Adam and his friends see the Cosmic Freight Train appear in the sky. The Cosmic Freight Train claps her hands together to reveal Preternia behind her. She announces to everyone watching that she will now free everyone from the shackles of spirituality. The Cosmic Freight Train pulls a Thanos and snaps her fingers and destroys heaven itself. We see Grayskull, his friends, and the dinosaurs all die in a terrific blast of energy. Wait. What? Since when did anyone with He-Man's power, or even the sorcerers, have the power to just wipe out heaven with a snap of their fingers? Since when does anyone on Earth have the power to just wipe out heaven, period? Prince Adam turning into He-Man never had a godlike implication. At least not until Kevin Smith got his grubby hands on the franchise. This is the most ridiculous part of the entire show. This is even worse than Adam getting impaled through the back at the end of Part 1. What on earth was Kevin Smith smoking when he came up with this psychedelic idea? Anyway, after the Cosmic Freight Train destroys heaven, she ends her magical broadcast. Prince Adam calls a powwow with his parents and friends. Naturally, with the destruction of heaven, everyone is panicking. I'm sorry, but I'm still laughing at the lunacy of this scene. Heaven destroyed? Oh, Kevin Smith, you are such a lunatic. At any rate, our characters are trying to figure out how to deal with the Cosmic Freight Train. Tila Wannabe steps forward and declares that she will fight the Cosmic Freight Train with her powers of sorcery. As everyone keeps debating what to do, Adam states that he will accept help from anyone. Right after he says this, there is a knock at the door. The door opens, revealing Skeletor being held captive by a couple soldiers. The skull-faced villain demands to be invited inside, and that is where Episode 3 ends. Episode 4 is titled Hope for a Destination. This episode starts off with Teela Wannabe in a meditative pose on top of the aircraft we saw in Episode 3. She's gone full Ray as she floats through the air and tries to send a magical mental message to everyone in Eternia. She is begging for help from the entire planet. Teela Wannabe loses faith in herself and falls back on her tush. Audra, the science woman, encourages Teela Wannabe to keep trying. Teela Wannabe suggests trying a different method to send a message that doesn't involve magic. Audra, the science woman, reminds her that the cosmic freight train is blocking all conventional communications. So it's up to Teela Wannabe to keep persevering. At this point, Randor and Marlena arrive on the scene. Randor gives some exposition about the Mystic Mountains. He then explains that given the right person to wield the mountain's mystic powers, they will have a means of communication more powerful than any transmitter. Marlena adds that all the people would come to join the fight if only they received the transmission. Teela Wannabe, to her credit, states that she isn't the sorceress. She isn't even the sorceress wannabe. And this is part of the show where, as we have seen with other Mary Sue characters, the king and queen give a speech of reassurance and state that they believe in her. The power is inside her after all. She just has to believe in herself. Yada yada yada. Nothing we haven't heard over the last 5 years or so. The scene goes to Prince Adam, who is conferring with Skeletor. Skeletor suggests the old but humorous trope of the hero and villain setting aside their differences in order to stop the cosmic freight train. The skull-faced villain states that he can get himself and Adam close to the cosmic freight train, where Adam can then call the power and become He-Hulk Man. Prince Adam flatly refuses to become He-Hulk Man again. Adam then looks at a hologram in time to see Teela Wannabe floating in the air like Ray again. After looking at Teela Wannabe, he states that he has an idea on how to stop the cosmic freight train. Skeletor asks, "Well then, what are we going to do? Ask her nicely to please stop destroying the universe?" After looking at Adam, who is smiling smugly, Skeletor realizes rather humorously that it's exactly what they're going to do. We go back to Castle Grayskull. The cosmic freight train is floating in the star chamber while her number one simp looks on in awe. She opens her eyes, and now they glow like Skeletor's eye sockets did. She sees a vision where a ram with fangs is drinking. Why does the ram have fangs? Don't know. A venomous snake bites the ram and kills it. A bird of prey grabs the snake, but the snake bites it too. They both fall into the water in a fiery explosion with a Grayskull sorceress watching. After we see this completely random and arguably meaningless vision, the sorceress snaps out of her starry-eyed trance. Annoyingly, the camera blurs in and out of her face at this point, making the viewer briefly wonder if he or she needs to go to an optometrist. Beastman asks what the cosmic freight train saw. The cosmic freight train replies that she saw the death of a god, which I guess one of the characters from the vision was a god? She goes into another speech about pain and suffering and so decides to destroy the universe. Beastman says that maybe seeing the entire universe isn't a good idea. The cosmic freight train snaps on him, asking if he's man or beast. Beastman, still a total simp, says that it's the power talking, not her. To this, the cosmic freight train floats into the air and threatens to turn him into her battle dog. Beastman replies that the cosmic freight train sounds just like Skeletor. The cosmic freight train prepares to unleash a magical attack on her number one simp. She is interrupted, however, by the sound of a horn. It turns out that Prince Adam and Skeletor are standing outside the castle with their feline companions. The gates to the castle are lowered, revealing the cosmic freight train and Beastman. Beastman asks if he should sound the alarm. The cosmic freight train says she's seen this play, she knows how it ends, so an alarm isn't necessary. While Skeletor and Adam enter the castle behind the cosmic freight train, we go over to Teela Wannabe and Audra the science woman. They have sneaked their way into the sewage system of Castle Grayskull. Audra the Science Woman asks Tila Wannabe if the magical summoning message worked. Tila Wannabe replies that she felt something for a second but was otherwise unsure of anything. She then asks what if they're walking into a trap. Of course, right as she asks if they're walking into a trap, someone does indeed spring a trap on them. One of the Cosmic Freight Train's minions is launching projectiles at the two women. The two women outrun the projectiles and take place behind a stone bridge. At this moment, we go back to the Cosmic Freight Train sitting upon her throne. The Cosmic Freight Train uses her magic to close the doors behind Prince Adam and Skeletor. Adam begins his speech. He doesn't get very far before the Cosmic Freight Train goes, "Hand, lightning in my hand, lightning in my hand, lightning in my hand." Naturally, Prince Adam, Skeletor, and the felines take cover from her Palpatine lightning attack. Once her lightning has abated, Adam and Skeletor jump out and rush toward her. And that's when the duel with the Cosmic Freight Train begins. Going back to the Woke Wonders, we see that they are still cowering behind the stone bridge. Audra the Science Woman gets up and starts shooting at the guy who's shooting at them. Tila Wannabe uses this distraction to run past their opponent. However, she gets ambushed by an opponent with 6 eyes. In response to the ambush, Tila Wannabe shoots a grappling rope at the ceiling before swinging away from this new assailant. She swings into the first enemy and kicks him down to size. Ultimately, she trips the first enemy into the sewer water. The 6-eyed opponent tries to swing across to join Tila Wannabe, but Audra the Science Woman shoots his line. The 6-eyed assailant likewise falls into the water. At that moment, a guy with 2 swords jumps out of the shadows and attacks Tila Wannabe. Before Audra the Science Woman can help Tila Wannabe, she is grabbed from behind by a guy who looks like a crustacean. Tila Wannabe blocks the sword attacks with her ray staff, but this gets chopped in two. As the guy with 2 swords goes in for the kill, the sewage system begins to rumble. Lo and behold, the tentacled monster throws his limbs out of the water and grabs the guy with the swords. Audra the Science Woman electrocutes the crustacean man holding her. She jumps away from the crustacean man before he too gets grabbed by the tentacled monster. As the tentacled monster disappears from sight, Man-at-Arms shows up. We go back to the Cosmic Freight Train, who is dueling Adam. She knocks him to the ground. Before she could do him in, Skeletor begins launching magical attacks on her. The Cosmic Freight Train grabs one of these magical attacks and redirects it to Adam. Before Adam can get hit by this attack, Skeletor teleports him back to his side. Skeletor asks what's going on with Tila Wannabe. Adam assures Skeletor that Tila Wannabe is doing her job. Skeletor then allows Adam to jump through a bunch of wormholes surrounding the Cosmic Freight Train. This gives the felines the chance they need to go in and attack her. This does no good either, and she knocks down the cats with ease. The Cosmic Freight Train launches a cosmic magical attack which results in Prince Adam being trapped in sharp spines. Skeletor and Panther attack the Cosmic Freight Train, while Cringer frees Adam from his spiky prison. Now freed, Prince Adam throws one of these spikes at the Cosmic Freight Train. The weapon disintegrates before it can strike her. Panther throws himself at the Cosmic Freight Train. The Cosmic Freight Train goes all White Witch on Panther and turns him to stone. The poor cat shatters into pieces as he hits the floor. Skeletor goes into a rage and charges at the Cosmic Freight Train again. Meanwhile, we go back to the sewage system. Man-at-Arms explains to the Woke Wonders that the tentacled monster helped him escape from the dungeon. At that moment, Goatman and Pig Boy enter the room. Audra the Science Woman holds the 2 combatants at bay while Man-at-Arms and Tila Wannabe have a heart-to-heart. Tila Wannabe confesses to Man-at-Arms that she is unsure about herself and doesn't even know if her magical message worked. Man-at-Arms tells her that her magic worked because he heard her message. He then tells her that the message reminded him of the sorceress he loved, her mother. Man-at-Arms states that he is happy to have Tila Wannabe for a daughter, but now she must become something greater for the sake of the universe. Tila Wannabe then declares that nothing will ever be greater than being Man-at-Arms' daughter, which is actually a genuinely sweet moment. If it weren't for the butch haircut and all the woke moments that have happened before, I would have appreciated it better. Man-at-Arms then leaves her to help Audra, the science woman. At this moment, King Randor arrives to Castle Grayskull on the back of his mechanical steed. So, what's the deal with robotic horses when you could ride a real horse? Don't know. Anyway, it is soon clear that he brought his entire army with him. He goes and talks to Marlena. The two of them reconcile and apologize for allowing their marriage to become strained. Again, I don't think that the marriage trouble was entirely necessary in the first place, but it is nice to see them get reconciled. After the two of them reaffirm their vows, everyone looks up one of the dunes. Citizens from all over Eternia have joined to help King Randor's army and are climbing over that dune. It's nice to see the bee people again. I really enjoyed them from the 2002 HeMan Show. We go back to Tila Wannabe. She is entering the sacred chamber her mother went into when she was a baby. She goes underground and finds herself in the Chamber of Water the sorceress entered those years ago. The force ghost of her mother greets her as she arrives to the pool. Tila Wannabe confronts the force ghost about hiding the truth of the sorceress being her mother. Quite heatedly, I must say. Accusations of abandonment fly from Tila Wannabe's lips. The sorceress replies that to become the sorceress, she had to tether herself to the castle. She could never step outside the castle in human form. She didn't want Tila Wannabe to know the pain of isolation, and that's why she didn't tell her, I think. The Force Ghost also reveals that in order to become the sorceress, Tila Wannabe must be willing to let go of everything and everyone she cares about and fully embrace the power, which will result in her likewise being tethered to the palace like her mother. We go back to Prince Adam and Skeletor fighting the Cosmic Freight Train. Skeletor creates a magical scythe and attempts to play Grim Reaper on the Cosmic Freight Train. The Cosmic Freight Train holds the blade of the energy scythe in her fingers before thrusting Skeletor away. Skeletor teleports at him, which allows him to slash the Cosmic Freight Train in the face. The Cosmic Freight Train sends Adam likewise flying away. She instantly heals her wound.
All that for a drop of blood.
Beastman then approaches his mistress and reminds her that she asked him if he was man or beast. He declares, "Today I am beast."
In the name of the mighty leeches of Predacons who preceded me, I shall never again yield to your charge. But I will heed your previous advice and face my true enemy as a beast!
The Cosmic Freight Train points He-Man's sword at Beastman and fires the weapon. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, beauty had the simp. Yes indeed, folks, Beastman the Simp has now been turned into a big shaggy dog creature, all for his true love. Black! Shaggy Dog Beastman charges at Adam and Skeletor. He is only stopped from pulverizing the two men by Cringer, who jumps on Shaggy Dog Beastman. Shaggy Dog Beastman quickly throws Cringer off and pins him to the ground. The Cosmic Freight Train uses magic to bring Skeletor in front of her. Skeletor begs for his life to be spared. The Cosmic Freight Train tells him there isn't enough blood in his body to wash her hands of him. She then dredges up every time that Skeletor acted upon his toxic masculinity and acted like a parasite. Dropping Skeletor, the Cosmic Freight Train tells him that she will not be his host any longer. Skeletor reminds her that he gave her the power that she wields now, and even reminds her that he loved her. To this, the Cosmic Freight Train replies that Skeletor is only capable of craving, not loving. Once she finishes her speech, the Cosmic Freight Train floats into the air and starts tearing Castle Grayskull apart. Even the door flies off its hinges. Debris flies everywhere. Just before the Cosmic Freight Train can pulverize Skeletor with the debris, she looks out the doorway and sees King Randor and his army. She sees all the citizens of Eternia assembled alongside the military proper. The Cosmic Freight Train then smiles and allows the debris to drop all around her. She takes her leave of Adam and Skeletor, telling them she is going to stomp out this planetary uprising. Skeletor asks, "You and what army?" Adam reminds her that she just snuffed out heaven. No one's going to fight for her now. Ha 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 ha! Heaven destroyed! Kevin Smith, you're the perfect farce. Anyway, the Cosmic Freight Train begins to glow. Castle Grayskull gets covered in darkness. From that darkness, the armies of Subternia emerge. Subternia even has a dragon. Unfortunately, I don't like the design of the dragon. Given that dragons are supposed to be based on dinosaurs, which were reptiles by the way, not birds, this creature here shouldn't have hair coming out along his neck. And what's with the face? It looks kind of mammalian. I wish it was created to look a little more like Maleficent toward the climax of Sleeping Beauty. Anyway, that is where episode 4 ends. I believe I shall pause the review here. Next time I shall conclude with the 5th and final episode of the show, so stay tuned for the 3rd installment of my commentary. I apologize for the lateness of these later 2 installments. Theoretically, I was going to finish this project before the year of our Lord 2022. However, with the holidays, there were things to do in terms of holiday preparations and spending time with family. If you like this video and wish to see more like it, please hit the thumbs up, share this video, and subscribe to this channel. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to YetiCast. He made a really hilarious version of the Masters of the Universe Revelation trailer several months ago wherein Tila Wannabe was given the voice of Alex Jones. And honestly, it deserves more views than it actually has right now. Now, my friends, go forth, be gracious to everyone, and may God bless you.